Okay, and we are recording. Okay, welcome to At the Bar, episode 2. Today is just myself, as I sort of mentioned at the end of last week's show, which came out on Saturday. Hope you've all managed to have a listen. Today, I'm going to be talking about my experience doing the first of 5 CrossFit Open workouts. Okay, so for those of you that don't know what CrossFit is a sport that basically encompasses skills such as gymnastics or Olympic weightlifting. It involves sort of more endurance-based work like rowing, running. We use equipment such as ski ergs and assault bikes as well. And basically the point is to be very good at everything as opposed to being a specialist in a sport. So it's tested through how quickly you can do a prescribed workout. That workout may include multiple components, or it might just be as simple as, for example, a 2-kilometer row on the Concept 2. We might be how many repetitions you can do within a certain time domain. So obviously we can test sprint sort of base workouts, or we can test longer, more endurance pieces. It also might end up being sort of a test of strength. So how much you can lift in a particular movement. You know, for example, a deadlift or an overhead squat or clean and jerk, whatever it is. Okay, so that's roughly what CrossFit is. And I got into CrossFit last year, just after last year's Open, sort of end of March, start of April time. And I work out of a CrossFit gym over in Tipton called CrossFit Rudis. I found that gym through just researching the local gyms to myself, and went along for a trial, had a really good time. Sort of one of the things that CrossFit is known for is how awesome the community is within the gyms themselves. So everyone's really supportive, no matter where you are on your journey, no matter how good or just wherever you are on your journey, you know. Had a really good time, signed up, and I've been a member there and practicing CrossFit for nearly a year now, which is awesome. And the CrossFit Open is basically a worldwide competition that anyone can enter, and basically they release a new workout once a week for 5 weeks, and you upload your score and you see how you compare on a worldwide scale. It is also a qualification process for something called the CrossFit Games, which happens later on in the year. And the process to get into there is you finish high in your region. I think it's the top 40 men and the top 40 women from each region. The regions are broken up worldwide, sort of based on how many affiliates and sign-ups they have to the Open in those regions. And then you go to regionals, which is held sort of in from the middle of May through to early June. And then the CrossFit Games happens at the start of August. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of that season. Anyway, to talk a little bit about the workout that I did on Friday night. So each workout is sort of called 18.1, 2018, and then the first workout of the Open, so 18.1. And this year for 18.1, we had 20 minutes to do what is abbreviated to an AMRAP, which stands for as many rounds or repetitions as possible in the given time, in this case 20 minutes. And we had 8 toes to bar, which is where you're hanging off a rig and you bring your toes up to meet the bar that you're hanging off. You had to do 10 hanging dumbbell clean and jerk, which basically involves the dumbbell being above the knee, the height of your knee. You lift it to your shoulders and then you jerk it or press it overhead 5 times on each arm, okay, so left and right. And then For men, we had to do a 14 calorie row, and for ladies, it was a 12 calorie row. Now, these workouts do have a scaled option as well. So the scaled option for 18.1 was to do 8 hanging knee raises, in which, as you bring your knees up, they have to come above the height of your hips, and then you straighten your legs back out whilst you're hanging off the bar still. And then the weights were lowered for the dumbbells. So for the full version, what's called the RX version, men had to use 22.5 kilogram dumbbells and women had to use 15. And then for the scaled versions, men would use 15 and ladies would use 10. The calories weren't affected depending on scale. So that's the workout. Hopefully you've sort of understood that as I've gone through it. And basically, just going to talk about how I found it. You know what? I actually had a really good time doing this workout. It was the sort of workout that I was hoping to get, sort of a long-ish sort of endurance piece, realistically. I mean, it was all about sort of pacing it, finding a pace that you could stick at through the time. Now, where I am in my personal journey in CrossFit is 3 weeks ago I didn't have toes to bar as a skill, and I've been working on that for the past 3 weeks and managed to be able to RX this workout because of that work that I put in. So I was hoping to get 10 rounds done in 20 minutes, which would be averaging a sort of 2-minute a round piece. And, you know, for the most part, I think it went well. So at CrossFit Rudis, we put on different heats. Okay, so all the athletes that have entered would, in effect, be going head to head. And I was in the second heat, and I found it good. Basically, my plan was, because I knew the toes to bar was still probably going to be the weakest movement of the 3 movements within this, I planned to break them up from the first set, which I did. And you know what? I'm really happy with my pace. I mean, I'm pretty rowing is definitely within my wheelhouse. Even though, I mean, realistically, I wasn't, whilst I was doing the workout, I wasn't that happy with what I was pulling on the rower. But as it finished, I managed to do just short of the 10 rounds that I thought I would like to be able to do. I was on the rower. I got 5 calories into the 14 that you had to achieve. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. 80 toes to bar in 20 minutes is pretty good, considering 3 weeks ago I didn't have it. What I've sort of found since, though, is I've got a pretty bad shoulder injury, and having spoken to just some people who are a little bit more experienced with injuries within CrossFit, we think it's sort of come from the kipping movement, which is a gymnastic skill which basically allows you to rep out on the toes to bar, for example, a lot quicker. Basically my left shoulder, I am struggling to extend my arm overhead. I'm recording this on Sunday, by the way, although you'll be listening to it on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm struggling to extend my arm overhead, and also with a little bit of external rotation within that left shoulder. But overall, in terms of whether I'm happy or sad with how I've done, I'm really, really, really happy. I'm pretty sure that was at capacity for me. I'm not sure, even if my shoulder was in good shape, I would have redone it. I don't know actually if there was anything more to gain in that, considering where my toes to bar are at. I mean, the only thing that I could maybe have pushed a little bit harder on was the rower, but I don't know. I mean, coming out of the event, so after the 20 minutes had finished, my legs were pretty blown up from the row. I felt like I had, sort of done as well as I was going to ever do. So yeah, that's really it in terms of how I found 18.1. I still feel pretty early on in my journey within CrossFit in terms of learning the skills and the movements and stuff. So, I couldn't hope for it for much more. I feel like I'm going around in circles a little bit now, so I'll sort of wrap up. But basically, yeah, really happy with my score. when I put out the post for this on Tuesday morning onto my Instagram feeds, you can follow me at @Parkinson UK and at Rise Fitness UK. When I put out the final score, you'll be able to have a little look at where I'm ranking on a worldwide level and where I'm ranking on a European level. At the moment, I'm super happy. I'm in the top 10% on both of those by some way, which is amazing, and sort of was my goal to finish overall in the top 10%. In terms of what I think is going to come up next, I would really like... I mean, my shoulder wouldn't like it if there was much overhead movements, but I would really like some barbell movements in the next workout. Maybe a little less gymnastic-y skills, and if they are, maybe just pull-ups would be good for me. And then also it'd be nice to have something that we have to do for time instead of, as many rounds as possible. Anyway, I've got to go and get that door, so I'll wrap up now. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll be back next week.